Modern air forces are trapped in an economic nightmare. All over the world, militaries are firing multi-million-dollar missiles to shoot down drones that cost less than a used car. The math isn't just bad, it's completely unsustainable. And this isn't some far-off future problem. It's a crisis unfolding right now, threatening to cripple even the most advanced, well-funded air forces on the planet. An enemy doesn't have to build a better fighter jet anymore. They just have to build a cheaper drone and send so many that they bankrupt your air defense. The war of attrition is now a war of economics. But what if one country has figured out how to flip this entire equation on its head? While everyone else is facing the prospect of going broke fighting off waves of cheap drones, Sweden is quietly rewriting the rules of modern air defense. They're not doing it with a fancier, more expensive weapon. They're doing it by being smarter. This is the story of how a single, adaptable fighter jet, the Saab Gripen, armed with clever, low-cost rockets and a revolutionary electronic warfare suite, holds the key to making the drone swarm obsolete. To really get the genius of the Swedish solution, you first have to grasp the terrifying scale of the problem. The age of drone warfare is here, and it's defined by one word: asymmetry. The conflicts in Ukraine and the Red Sea have become brutal proving grounds for this new reality. We're seeing the rise of cheap, mass-produced, one-way attack drones, like the Shahed 136, that are devastatingly effective. These aren't sophisticated military machines. They're simple, slow, and often built with off-the-shelf parts, costing anywhere from $20,000 to $50,000 a pop. They are basically the IEDs of the sky. Now, think about what Western air forces use to shoot down an aerial threat. Their go-to missiles are weapons like the AIM-120 AMRAAM, which costs about $1 million a shot, or the AIM-9 Sidewinder at around $450,000. The math is horrifying. A defending nation can end up firing a $1 million missile to destroy a target worth just $20,000. That's a cost-exchange ratio of 50-to-1 working against the defender. If an attacker sends a swarm of 100 drones, it costs them a couple of $1 million. The cost to defend against them with traditional missiles could be $100 million, burning through a precious stockpile of high-end weapons needed for a real peer-to-peer fight. This isn't just a financial drain. It's a massive strategic vulnerability. An enemy doesn't need to win a dogfight anymore. They just need to force you to empty your magazines and your treasury on an endless wave of what are essentially flying lawnmowers with explosives strapped to them. NATO commanders have openly admitted their current defenses weren't designed for this. Right now, that's an economic war the West is losing. Badly. And that brings us to Sweden's unique military philosophy. For most of its modern history, Sweden stayed out of military alliances, preparing for the scary possibility of defending itself against a superpower all alone. It could never win on pure numbers or sheer industrial scale. So instead, it focused on being efficient, adaptable, and self-reliant. Every piece of equipment had to be practical, cost-effective, and easy to maintain under fire. This mindset gave birth to the Saab JAS-39 Gripen. The Gripen was never meant to be the biggest, fastest, or priciest fighter on the market. It was designed to be enough, adaptable, and above all, smart. Its very DNA is built around the exact principles that happen to be the perfect antidote to the drone swarm dilemma. Let's start with the cost. The Gripen has one of the lowest operational costs of any modern Western fighter, consistently flying for a fraction of what it costs to operate an F-35 or a Eurofighter Typhoon. In a war defined by economic attrition, being able to fly more missions for the same money is a game-changing advantage. Then there's its legendary flexibility. The Gripen was designed from day one to operate from dispersed locations, not just big, vulnerable air bases. It can take off and land from reinforced highways as short as 800 meters. A small ground crew can refuel and rearm the jet in about 10 minutes, getting it back in the fight with incredible speed. Imagine a fleet of Gripens, scattered across the country on hidden road bases, launching to intercept a drone swarm, landing on another highway strip, rearming, and taking off again before a more complex jet could even complete one cycle. This makes it almost impossible for an enemy to wipe out your air force in a single surprise attack. This philosophy of efficiency and resilience created a platform that was already cost-effective and survivable. Sweden didn't need to invent a new billion-dollar plane to solve this new problem. It just needed to lean into the strengths it had been building for decades. The core of the Gripen's proposed anti-drone strategy is a simple, almost counterintuitive idea. To kill a cheap threat, you need a cheap but precise weapon. Firing a $1 million missile at a $20,000 drone is insane. But what if you could use a $30,000 guided rocket instead? This is precisely the capability that Saab is now actively working to integrate onto the Gripen. The weapon at the heart of this is the APKWS, or Advanced Precision Kill Weapon System. Simply put, APKWS is a guidance kit that you fit onto a standard, unguided 70mm Hydra rocket. The kit adds a laser seeker to the rocket's nose, instantly turning a cheap, dumb rocket into a smart, surgically precise weapon. Suddenly, the economics are flipped on their head. A single APKWS round costs between $20,000 and $35,000. Now, you're firing a weapon that costs about the same as the target it's destroying. The unsustainable cost exchange ratio that was bleeding air forces dry is neutralized. A 50-to-1 disadvantage becomes a 1-to-1 fight. This is how you start to win the economic war. But the real game changer could be the sheer volume of fire. These rockets are fired from pods, and a single Gripen could potentially carry pods holding dozens of these guided munitions. One jet could neutralize a huge part of a drone swarm, not with a handful of pricey missiles, but with a barrage of affordable, lethal rockets. And this isn't just theory. APKWS is already being used to shoot down drones by U.S. forces and on other platforms in Ukraine. Learning from those lessons, a Saab marketing director confirmed they are eyeing that capability now for both new and old Gripen models, stating, "Right now we are using very expensive weapons to destroy very cheap drones. This is the fix. It lets a pilot meet the drone swarm on its own terms, with volume, efficiency, and lethal cost-effectiveness. Destroying drones with cost-effective rockets is a huge step, but it's only half of the Gripen's solution. The real genius of the Swedish doctrine is its focus on dominating the electromagnetic spectrum, disrupting a drone swarm before you even have to fire a shot. From its very beginning, the Gripen was designed not just as a machine of speed and firepower, but as a master of electronic warfare, or EW. While many modern fighters focus on stealth by shaping the airframe to be invisible to radar, Saab took a different path. They knew that in the constant battle between radars and countermeasures, nothing is truly invisible forever. So, they built the Gripen to be an electronic ghost, capable of blinding and confusing its enemies. The newest Gripen E is packed with a cutting-edge EW suite. Over 40 sensors dotted around the airframe give the pilot 360-degree awareness of every threat. The system doesn't just warn the pilot, it can automatically deploy countermeasures, from old-school chaff and flares to advanced digital jamming that creates a digital shroud around the plane. So how does this help against a drone swarm? Well, its EW suite is perfectly suited to crippling them. Many drones need a constant data link to navigate and get commands. The Gripen's jammers can sever those links, leaving the drones blind and aimless. It can spoof their GPS, feeding them fake coordinates and sending them flying harmlessly off course. And then there's the challenge of finding them in the first place. The Gripen's advanced AESA radar can spot the small, slow-moving targets that older radars miss. Combined with its passive infrared search and track sensor, it can build a detailed picture of the airspace without ever giving away its own position with a powerful radar blast. This creates a smart, layered defense. The EW suite acts as the first line, thinning out the swarm without firing a single shot. The pilot then uses the advanced sensors to pick off the remaining threats with those cost-effective APKWS rockets. And for any stragglers that still get through, the Gripen has one final, devastating, and basically free weapon: its 27mm Mauser cannon, capable of shredding a drone with a short burst of high-explosive shells. It's a complete toolkit, letting the pilot escalate from jamming to cannons to rockets, all from one hyper-efficient jet. The Gripen's evolution into a potential drone killer is more than just a clever tech upgrade. It's sketching out a new doctrine for air warfare. It's a direct challenge to the old Western idea of seeking technological dominance at any cost. For decades, the thinking was that the nation with the most expensive, advanced systems would always win. The drone swarm proves that logic is dangerously flawed. The Gripen doctrine is built on a different idea, a scalable, sustainable, and cost-effective response. It suggests the future of air superiority might not belong to the nation with the priciest fighter, but to the one with the smartest and most adaptable one. By presenting a solution to the ruinous economics of anti-drone warfare, Sweden has exposed a fundamental weakness in the air power strategy of its allies. Sweden's entry into NATO in 2024 doesn't just add another flag. It injects this disruptive and necessary philosophy right into the alliance's strategic core. NATO commanders are already scrambling for solutions, calling for a Walmart of counter-drone capabilities. The Gripen, with this proposed toolkit, is a ready-made answer to that call. It's providing a clear and proven blueprint for how to adapt. And Saab is already looking ahead, planning a new uncrewed demonstrator that could fly as early as 2027, which could position the Gripen E as a potential mothership for loyal wingman drones. This forward-looking approach ensures the Gripen will remain relevant for decades, adapting to new threats as they appear. The rise of the cheap, disposable drone presented modern air forces with what looked like an unsolvable problem. It's a weapon that attacks not just military targets, but the very economic foundation of a nation's defense. The war of attrition has moved from the battlefield to the budget sheet. But in the face of this challenge, Sweden has offered a powerful rebuttal. It didn't build a more expensive silver bullet. Instead, it drew on a decades-old philosophy of efficiency and smart design. By combining the Gripen's natural strengths, its low cost and high sortie rate, with a proposed toolkit of low-cost guided rockets and world-class electronic warfare, it has created a system that doesn't just counter the drone swarm, but defeats the very economic logic that makes it so dangerous. The Gripen exposes a critical weakness in traditional air power, but it also lights up a clear path forward. It's proof that in modern warfare, being adaptable can be more powerful than being complex, and efficiency is a weapon all its own. If you enjoyed this deep dive into modern air power, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more analysis like this. Thanks for watching.